The Monaco Grand Prix is seen as a highlight in every Formula One season. There is something amazingly interesting about fast racing cars going round a circuit with barriers no more than a few meters away on both sides. And probably one of the most remarkable editions of this iconic motor race is the 1988 Monaco Grand Prix. The 78-lap race revolves around the two McLaren Honda teammates and legends of the sport, Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. These two drivers would develop an unfriendly rivalry and ultimately battle for several championships throughout the years. But on this day in May of 1988, nobody would be able to match Senna's speed around the twisty street circuit. After starting in first place, Senna would consistently extend his lead until he was leading by more than 50 seconds on lap 54, considered a gigantic lead in Formula One. However, despite his lead, he kept on going faster and faster and faster. It seemed like nothing would be able to stop him from winning this Grand Prix until on lap 67, 11 laps before the end of the race, the TV camera showed a crashed red and white car in the barriers. Senna had hit the outside barrier of the right-hand corner leading up to the back straight of the circuit and totaled his car. Alain Prost, who had been slower in every single session across the entire weekend, went on to win the race. This remarkable story raises one big question with most Formula One fans. Why did Ayrton Senna continue to go so fast, even though he was miles ahead of the competition? Why didn't he just slow down and try to avoid exactly the type of crash that he got involved in? In order to understand this a little bit better, we need to look at the concept of flow. An athlete can enter a state of flow, or as it is sometimes referred to as being in the zone, when the demands of the situation exactly match the capabilities of the athletes. When this situation occurs, athletes are able to reach optimal performance. And for this reason, many athletes try to train themselves in order to reach flow state. Some of the characteristics that athletes describe having when they're in the zone are having an unlimited amount of confidence. Their actions and their awareness merge together in which they're not really aware of what they're doing. They're just executing. They're intrinsically enjoying what they're doing and they lose the sense of time and space. The reason why flow is important in this story is because of what Ayrton Senna said after the race. I was kind of driving it by instinct, only I was in a different dimension. It was like I was in a tunnel. Not only the tunnel under the hotel, but the whole circuit for me was a tunnel. I was just going, more and more and more and more. I was way over the limit, but still able to find even more. It frightened me because I realized I was well beyond my conscious understanding. This anecdote clearly shows all the characteristics of flow. Senna reports feeling that he was on the limit or even over it, but still being able to find more, which indicates peak performance. This is further reinforced by the fact that he was so far ahead of everyone else. Another thing is that he reports to not really be conscious about the way he was driving anymore. He just saw the tunnel, which indicates to me that his awareness of himself and his actions were merging, which is another characteristic of flow. Overall, this quote really shows to me that Ayrton Senna was in a state of flow when driving this race. Which raises the question, if he was in the zone, why did he crash? The key to that question lies in why lap 67 was different from all the previous ones. On this lap, McLaren team boss Ron Dennis radioed Senna and asked him to slow down because he was so far ahead. This is a very important fact because research has shown that external distractions might lead to athletes not being able to enter the zone or being removed from the zone when they were already in it. Or in Senna's own words, then suddenly something just kicked me. I kind of woke up and I realized that I was in a different atmosphere than you normally are. Immediately, my reaction was to back off, slow down. Not being in a state of flow anymore also meant that Senna wasn't able to reach the optimal performance anymore. And now the task of driving his car around the demanding street circuit at the pace he had been doing all race suddenly became too hard for him to execute, and that might have led to a crash. Now, this is most definitely not a video about the dangers of flow. Not only is being able to enter the zone one of the most powerful tools an athlete can have to reach peak performance, it is also one of the most memorable experiences most athletes will have. I most certainly remember the 2 instances in which I was allowed to experience a state of flow. But what this story does show is just how powerful flow can be. The difference between blowing the competition away and parking your car into a wall. Learning how to enter the zone in your competitive environment is a very difficult thing to do. And there is no standard way of going about training it. However, a good first step might be to recollect optimal performances and write down and analyze why you think you performed so well in those situations. But in order to fully understand how you can optimize your chances of reaching a state of flow, you can work together with a mental performance consultant to analyze your capabilities and the demands of your situation. Thank you for watching. Please comment down below your experiences with being in the zone and if you have any questions about a state of flow. If you enjoyed watching the video, please make sure to like and subscribe to my channel in order to stay on top of all the content.